Hi, I'm Dillon.
And I'm Ryan.
Welcome back to Adaptation Station, the show where we review books and their movie adaptations. One of us reads the book and then watches the movie. The other watches the movie first and then reads the book. We give you our recommendation for which order gives you the best experience. And today we're talking about Animal Husbandry and Someone Like You.
Yeah, I read the book first on this one, so I'll tell you a little about it. It was published in 1997, written by Laura Zigman, and it is the story of Jane Goodall, not the one you think. Just this. Yeah. The main character's name is also Jane Goodall, and she meets a guy, falls in love. He's loves her, and then dumps her out of nowhere, and she has to deal with the heartbreak. Mm-hmm. But she comes up with a theory, in her research, into, men and into animals and stuff like that. Yeah. She calls the new cow theory.
Yeah.
And that theory kind of colors her journey through getting over the breakup and things like that.
Absolutely. And this book from 1997, you said? Mm-hmm. It was adapted just a few years later in 2001 into a movie with a new title. It's called Someone Like You, but it follows that same plot. She is Jane Goodall, played by Ashley Judd, and she dates Greg Kinnear. Mm-hmm. She breaks up with him and has to deal with it as she comes up with this theory, the new cow theory. And it also stars Hugh Jackman as Eddie, Marissa Tomei as her friend Liz. I'll start off by saying this one, the movie was a rewatch for me, but I hadn't read the book. I wanted to do this one for our show because this movie, I watched it, probably like 7 years ago.
Okay.
When I first started dating who is now my wife, because it's one of her favorite movies. So I might be a little biased towards it in that sense because I really like the movie. I'm probably also more of a fan of romantic comedies than you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that might be about right. I do like them.
But what did you think overall?
I know that I didn't like this movie as much because I had read the book.
I could see that.
I will say that off the bat. The movie, to get into the biggest spoiler of the whole thing, she gets together with Eddie in the movie. That doesn't happen in the book.
That was surprising to me reading the book.
Yeah.
Once I got to the end, I'm like, she doesn't end up with Eddie?
And when I watched the movie, I was like, you could see it going there almost from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's Hugh Jackman. You know what I mean? It's going there, right? And as I was watching, I'm like, no, it's not. That's not what the book is about. You know what I mean? That's not what the book is about. You know what I mean? So I understand. Yeah, and that's why it was a little worse for me. If I could have seen the movie in a vacuum, I would have liked it better as just itself. But also because the book has so many fun, unique things. That idea is unique, and the way things are presented are kind of interesting. It has a lot of character, the book does. Yeah. The movie, I feel like, is a little generic after reading the book. It doesn't have that same character. It presents some of the things like word for word almost from the book with the new cow theory and stuff. It just doesn't quite hit as much as the book does, in my opinion.
I agree with you. After having read the book, it made me rethink some things about the movie. But first, let me start with a defense of the movie. Just to say that watching it alone as a movie, even going in thinking this will be like a generic romantic comedy, I think it's a great middle-of-the-road romantic comedy. And I mean middle of the road in a good way. Because some romantic comedies are almost all comedy. Like Hitch. Hitch is like funny. It's not really serious about the romance. It's Will Smith, Kevin James. Or How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days with Matthew McConaughey. Really funny. Light on the romance. On the other hand, there's movies like Nicholas Sparks' books, like The Notebook, where it's just very serious and it becomes too dramatic. I think Someone Like You as a movie has a good balance between, it's a serious romance, but then there's some humor, but not too much humor. It's like a realistic amount of comedy and tragedy that's in life. So I like that a lot about the movie. Also, Greg Kinnear is an underrated actor. I'll say that flat out. I've recommended before, Little Miss Sunshine, one of my favorite movies. He's great in that. He's had a lot of great like supporting cast roles in his career.
I think what's the one
with
Helen Hunt? And,
As Good as It Gets. Yeah, he's great in that, but could be overshadowed by Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
What if this is as good as it gets? So I just really like Greg Kinnear and the movie, and I already told you I'm a little bit biased towards it. But getting into the book, I like the book. It's pretty original in terms of a romantic comedy. It also has that balance between being funny, but also like kind of serious. Some of the funny parts in it that are unique to its style are the things like mating scene deleted in brackets. Gives it a funny character. Like you said, the ending is the biggest difference. And that is kind of a bold thing to do, I feel like, for a romance book in the 90s, where it's like she doesn't end up with any guy. It's just like about her getting over the breakup. And
it's a lot about her coming to terms with her thoughts about herself and stuff too, right? That is in both of them, where she has the breakdown moment with Eddie, where she's like, "What if no one ever loves me again?" or whatever, right?
But this is where I liked the movie better, how they present it. I was really surprised reading the book. Like in the introduction, very early on, Jane says, if my theory is wrong, then men don't just leave women, they leave me. And it was like right at the beginning of the book, whereas in the movie, it like builds to that, where she comes to that realization, and it's toward the end when she says that to Hugh Jackman, like, what if they just leave me? And then he comes over and comforts her. I felt like that was a big climactic moment in the movie, whereas in the book, it just kind of tells you at the beginning, and I'm like, okay.
Well, I felt like it still was, maybe because you watched the movie at that point and you knew that becomes a climax. In the book, when you don't know that happens, it's kind of just, it sets the stage, but by the time you get to that point, you've forgotten that specifically was said, and it's just, and instead of saying, maybe they just leave me, she says that she's afraid that no one else would love her, right?
It's
it's
probably
a little
because
different, but
because I hear Ashley Judd like crying it out in the movie. When I read it at the beginning, I'm like, oh, that's too dramatic for the beginning. About the ending, I did like the ending in the book where she kind of gets over it with the help of Eddie, her kind of obsessive thing about the animal behavior and the breakup, and then she tells Joan Dr. Marie Goodall died peacefully in her sleep. I think that was a funny way of like getting over it.
Yeah, instead of revealing it.
But I like that better.
I don't know. It's too over.
I know it's kind of dramatic, but I like it's on live TV in the movie where she reveals it.
It just doesn't fit her character. Like it's not as real of a thing that might happen. I feel like this becomes a little more real. Anyway.
Well, that gets to. I really liked the movie watching it, but after reading the book, it did make me realize how much they watered it down.
Yeah.
They seemed to scrub it clean of any specific identifiers, is what I thought. Meaning, there kind of might not be important details, but in the book, it does mention that Jane is Jewish, and it makes kind of a passing point that she's dating a non-Jewish guy.
I don't remember.
It's not central to the story, but it's just totally left out of the movie. They don't mention it. Also in the book, she has one of her friends is a gay man named David.
I was going to say, why isn't he's just why totally is he not in the movie? Like he's a good character. He gives her good advice and stuff in the book.
So it's kind of like maybe they just simplified it is one way to look at it.
They did simplify it because
they combine her two friends into one person.
Yeah, Ray's fiance in the book is actually his girlfriend, and it's the boss. It's like it's a character that's already in this. Instead of when afterward, or it's revealed that his fiance is we never see her in this book. But then it's also revealed that the person that he was dating before and after Jane is the I don't remember her name, who also works at the TV studio but isn't the boss. It's like there are a lot of characters like that are just cut out and combined into other characters.
Yeah, so that's one way to look at it. Like instead of her two friends from the book, they just chose Marissa Tomei as the one friend. But also it seemed like they're like, oh, we don't want to go there. We're not going to mention she's Jewish. There's not going to be any like gay anything.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Because also, just because I had watched it first, when Jane and Ray first meet in the book, they both kind of question whether the other person is gay or not. It's just a very small moment. Like, she thinks he's gay because he kind of dresses very preppy. And she mentions that, and then he asks, like, if she's lesbian, something like that.
I don't even remember that.
Those are small details, but I noticed it because it made me think, like, wow, they were just like, we don't want to be controversial by putting anything of that in the movie.
Yeah, and then also in the movie, they make it as if she's, like, almost friends with Eddie already.
Yeah.
Like, she's at least familiar, whereas doesn't know him very much she works with him, but he's this kind of weird and mysterious guy who's a womanizer, in the book, which I think is kind of funnier, but then it makes more sense that she doesn't get together with him. In the book, he's also, the womanizing is much more played up. Like, he's just dating these women, and it gets more into what his character is like. He has less of a character in the movie, really. Yeah. In the book, he's got all these ideas, he's got, you get a little more fleshed out view of, like, how he was affected by his past relationship. Yeah. And I like the little idea that he's looking for a wife. He's always looking for a wife.
And he calls each new person he dates his wife.
Yeah, kind of that's thing. A funny thing. Where is that,
There were some other things that I thought of as missed opportunities from the book that could have been in the movie. One is I would have liked to see a montage scene of bad dates that Eddie sets Jane up on. Because in the book, he sets her up on some dates that don't go well. That could have made a funny montage for the movie. And then another one is I wish that Kevin Costner had made a cameo in the movie.
I was thinking that too. As I was watching it, I'm like, are they going to do that? That would be funny.
That would have been funny. Because in the book, her boss is obsessed with Kevin Costner, wants to get him on the show.
Yeah. The book was good in a different way but similar to how I like Michael Crichton, is like, it almost kind of provided, in a way, a technical or logical description of, a situation where, she's coming up with her theory and basing it on a lot of science and evolutionary science, psychological, argument. It's really interesting to me in that way. I kind of like that. And I think it's an important thing to do because it really does, like, it could really give people a perspective, a different perspective in a relationship than they might have. In this case, a guy's perspective, because it does present it as something that is just part of the DNA. It's unintentional. These actions, they're doing it, and here's how you describe it. And this stuff could be ascribed as intentional, but that it isn't. You know what I mean? So in that way, I think it's important because it can bring that up as, like, if something is unintentional but it's behavior, but you explain it and go, this is how it does, this is what it does, and also this is what it makes me feel like, being affected by this. It opens the door to somebody seeing that and it becoming conscious so that you recognize it and then can change that behavior.
Interesting.
Right? In that way, I really liked that,
I kind of thought of that as in a different way in terms of, I agree with you. It can be a good way to think about it logically and understand it. But in terms of the characters and how it affects them, I mostly thought of it as like an unhealthy habit that Jane has where she's trying to over-intellectualize, over-rationalize.
And she comes to that point, right?
Yeah, because she gets obsessed. She's taking notes.
Well, yeah, research. And that comes to a head, though, too, also. That's what I mean, is like, she's doing that, and that may be all well and good, but also at the core of her getting over Ray is her realizing her own insecurity about the whole thing. So it's not all about obsessing over, it's just the men that's making me feel like, then it's like, here's my thing that I had to get over too.
Once it gets to the point where you're making up a fake doctor to publish your theories, that's when maybe you've gotten a little obsessed. My last thing is, after reading the book, I had an idea that I think they should remake this as a different movie. I think they should make a movie actually called Animal Husbandry, give it the character from the book, modernize it, of course, because it's been 20-something years since this. But also, I like the idea of doing a gender-swapped version.
Oh, interesting.
Where a new adaptation would be from the man's perspective, like being Jane's character. John, probably, right? John Goodall. Anyway.
John Goodman.
John Goodman. and he plays him. But imagine a man gets dumped and then gets really into researching like alpha male versus beta male type of stuff. Because that's a real thing people do, where they like look at the animal kingdom, animal behavior, and then overgeneralize it to like apply to humans.
Oh, I have maybe one last quote after I was saying my big theory of how everything went and how I liked that. And then I got to this point where Joan's boss says this: men are narcissistic enough to want to read about themselves no matter what is being said about them. And then I was like, wait, is that why I like this book?
Yeah, could be.
Okay, yeah, let's get into the ratings then.
And you read it
I read it first. So I read it. I gave the book an 8.1.
Nice.
And then I watched the movie. I gave it a 5.9.
Okay, not horrible.
Yeah.
I watched the movie first. I gave it an 8.9.
Wow.
Really love it. And then I read the book. I gave it a 7.5.
Okay.
Still liked it.
Okay.
Kind of close to your score.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now let's combine our scores to see if these are overrated or underrated. All right, starting with the book, I gave it a 7.5.
I give it an 8.1. That's an average of 7.8.
Good
out
score.
Of 10.
Over on Goodreads, the readers there give it a 3.31 out of 5.
Okay, so only
it's like a 6.6?
Yeah, only 6.62. That's pretty low. So
it's underrated.
Underrated.
The book. Yeah, it's pretty good and unique, especially for a rom-com from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
As for the movie, I gave it an 8.9.
I gave it a 5.9. That's a 7.4.
Still a good score. Ooh, but over on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics give it a 42% and the audience a 56%.
Wow, so we still say that's also underrated.
Yeah.
That audience score is very close to my score.
Yeah. You might want to say properly rated, but then the critics have it lower than you.
Yeah.
So I would like to say these are both underrated.
Yeah. Now
we need to give our final recommendations. So you read it first. What order do you think people should do it in?
Because it's so much affected how much I liked the movie, I'm going to say watch the movie first. Because I think you'll like the movie much better than I did if you watch the movie first. Even if then when you get to the book, you might have wished it was like it. As long as now we're telling you they're not exactly the same. And the order may matter, but watch the movie first.
I was kind of on the fence on this one. Like, I'm not sure which one to do first, but after the way you described it, I think I'm going to agree with you. I watched the movie first. Obviously, I really liked the movie, and it didn't ruin the book for me. I liked the book too. So I'm going to agree and say watch the movie first, but also read the book. They are both underrated.
All right, sounds good. Now, I guess we'll see where these hit on our ongoing list of everything that we got.
Yeah.
Not too far from the top in the giant, how many is that?
A four-way
tie at 7.8 for number 16. Four-way tie at number 16 alongside the Green Mile movie, the Sphere movie, and the Bullet Train book is the Animal Husbandry book.
Okay.
So
that's pretty good. That's pretty high for out of, what do we have, 62 different things now? Something like that?
Yeah, 62 different things.
Okay, that's pretty strong.
Yep.
Good book.
What
about the movie?
We go a little bit further down and tied for number 31, which is still in the top half, but barely. Just in the top half.
In the middle. Then.
Tied with Everything Must Go, we have Someone Like You.
Man, I really liked that movie too. Everything must go.
Yeah, I think we both split those two. I wasn't as big a fan of Everything Must Go either.
Yeah, both of those movies will be high on my individual ranking. So, hey, stick around to the end of the season to see our individual stuff. Maybe we'll go into that. Mm-hmm. Okay, now that we looked at our ongoing rankings, we just have one more episode for Season 4 of Adaptation Station. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sticking around. What are we doing next month, Ryan?
Next month, we're doing a fan suggestion, another Stephen King fan suggestion, Dolores Claiborne.
Yeah, so thank you for the recommendation as always. And if you have any ideas for book-to-movie adaptations, we're going to have to start getting ready for the next season soon. So leave it down in the comments below. And we will see you next month. As for Animal Husbandry and Someone Like You, viewer, you tell me, which is better, the book or the movie?
Let us know in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends to tune in too.
You can click another video now. Thank you. Bye.